They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
The 1992 Universal release of Candyman is something I've avoided doing because I recalled it being slow. That was some number of years ago. Candyman is a character that was derived by Clive Barker. It was his creation, which makes sense, but I'll get back to that in a second. Here's a rundown of basically what happens in the movie. Helen and her friend Bernie work for a university of Chicago, I guess. Anyway, they are working on urban myths. One in particular strikes Helen, Candyman. This to me has to be inspired by Bloody Mary. They just added a couple of name calls, but whatever. I also think that this movie beat urban legend to the punch, but that's another review. To continue, Helen investigates where he supposedly resides, and the imagery I think is pretty cool and creepy, and well thought out for a modern spook story. There is backstory to the Candyman which Helen comes across, and it thickens the lore for the viewer in an exciting way, I think. Anytime you add backstory, for instance like they did in the Nightmare series, it can really build the plot. Candyman begins to haunt Helen and the terror begins. She ends up being framed for a supposed murder really committed by Candyman, and the spiral downhill for her begins here. He continues to haunt her, and his interactions with her get more intense. Bernie is murdered by him, and once again Helen is to blame. Wrong place, wrong time. Helen is committed and charged with first-degree murder. You really feel for how wrong things are going for her. She lost her freedom and her friend, and later her husband. I'd expand on this, but this is the abridged review. With all her support gone, she is forced to face Candyman. She does, and trades her own life to save the baby of a woman she accidentally got involved with and put her son at risk from Candyman. The final extended dialogue scene with Candyman and her I thought was really well written and had chilling lines. Overall, the pace is what bothers me. I'm usually one for a build-up, but this film seems to tease more than others. Tony Todd as Candyman could not have been a better choice. His voice and physical stature were perfect. As for it being a Clive Barker character, I don't think Candyman has the same charisma as Pinhead at all. Not bad, but not in the same league. This film has a following which would explain the sequels, which I've never seen. All in all, it's a decent flick. It just gets off the ground a bit slow. Now, I left out a ton of detail, so watch the flick, and if you already have, what makes this film good or bad to you? This was Pat for HMRG. Thanks for watching.